and we're here to mark the 60th anniversary of the Race Relations Act of 1965. So we're here to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Race Relations Act, which has subsequently become the Equality Act, which we all benefit from today. But anyone that knows the history of this knows that it started in my hometown here, which is Bristol, and that Unite was also a part of it. Unite's predecessors, which was TGW, was also a very big part of making that Race Relations Act come into force. Behind me is the bus, and on the bus you'll see a number of the pioneers and elders that we're very lucky to have with us today. So we sat in the Malcolm X Centre, we all had a nice meal, we've had some lovely conversations and some just lovely discussions about when they were younger, how life is today, the hopes that they have for our future generations. And so now that their bellies are full, we're going to now take a short journey up to Bristol Wills Memorial Service. So we're now at the 60th Race Relations Act celebration, where we will be honouring the pioneers. These pioneers that was courageous enough to stand up, they organised around this, they campaigned, they fought and they made a difference. And it has been lost throughout history, but it's only been revived in the last 10 to 20 years. And so we want to make sure that it never gets forgotten again.
All right, okay.
I been involved when I started my job in 1965, become a bus conductor. I was 18 years old. I'm very pleased all the circumstances has been changed, races and things like that. Before it was a very, very, very hard to get people get jobs because it was a racist.
Because they used to be very racial at that time, especially
in 1960.
When in a turban, they never used to take anybody on.
Yeah.
So you had to fight for your rights, and it was a long fight.
Yeah.
So we are glad that it is everything all settled now.
Being recognised,
Yeah. So if you look in those back days, we had a very hard life, you see. So a lot have been changed since I've been working, and a lot of change from those old days up to now. Yeah.
You built your barrier, taller I become. Further you take my rights away, the faster I will run. Something inside so strong, I know that I can make it.
One of the things we want to do is we want to get that Bristol Bus Boycott story in the national curriculum. It's important that our younger generations know that they can make a change in this world. When the Bristol Bus Boycott movement was happening,
Yes,
and you were both young ladies,
we were young ladies,
Yeah.
and at that time we all talked together as one. So we were all part of it. We could see the reason for it, because there was, it was a nonsense thing, because the Bristol buses decided not to take on black drivers and conductors, while black drivers were coming in from Bath, all in the Midlands, London. They were coming into Bristol bus station with their buses. Yet the Bristol bus station would not allow the black people in Bristol to drive bus or to become conductors. So people had to rebel. And they spoke with one voice, and they got what they wanted.
what were some of your achievements that you're proud of during your time?
My training as a nurse, both psychiatric and general.
You were one of the first ones.
Yes, there weren't many Bristol were nurses. But I wasn't trained in Bristol. I was trained at the Mendip Hospital in Somerset. It was psychiatric. And then I did my general at the Gloucestershire Royal Hospital. There's one thing, you make sure that you follow your job description and you do your best. In other words, you make sure you are just as good as any one of the others. You don't want to get any promotion or anything because you're black. So you take the blackness out of it and you see yourself as a nurse, as a whatever you are, you see yourself as that. You know, you don't take on the black thing on your shoulders. You know, you're just another person, another human being.
It's not just the buses, everything was bad for us. But we persevere. We stand the test of time, and here we are, 68 years later, and we are still here to tell the tales.
Well, how does it feel to be recognised now, like 60 years later?
Well, personally, I don't recognize for anything, but I'm proud of my grandchildren, especially my grandchildren, because they will inherit what we didn't get. They will fight for their rights. We couldn't fight for our rights because we was afraid. We were young, we were almost in our 20s. We was afraid if we tried to talk up for ourselves, you was going to be probably put into prison. Look, my son rang me and he said, "You sound happy." And I said, "What is there not to happy about? I've been through the worst. Now is a better time. I'm quite elderly now. No one is going to knock me down on the street. And so I can pay the bills. I can put food in my freezer, or my fridge, whatever I have. And I eat well. So I'm happy.